Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to start presenting the evaluation of the effect of connected and automated vehicle applications on driver behavior, a driving simulator approach. This webinar is presented by from UMEC, and we have back-to-back presentations until. Okay, connected vehicles. We have connected vehicles and autonomous vehicles, and CAV is connected and autonomous. As you all may know, we have dedicated short-range communication, DSRC, and DSRC, dedicated short range, that is an open source protocol for wireless communication, and we use that in connected vehicles. And we have different kinds of connected vehicles. That's why they call it V2X. That X could be vehicle, V2V, vehicle to vehicle. V2I is vehicle to infrastructure. V2D, vehicle to device. V2P, vehicle to pedestrian or people. And V2C is vehicle to cloud. And automated vehicles, we have autonomy from level 0 all the way to level 5. Level 0 is no automation, to level 5 that is fully automated or self-driving vehicle. So they use we use different kind of technologies to make it as a fully automated vehicles, as you see in this picture. What we did, we used the driving simulator at Morgan State, and we recruited over 100 participants. We gave them a pre-survey questionnaire, then they did the simulation and eye tracking system, and then we had a post-survey questionnaires to them. I have a video of how or what we did in the simulator regarding autonomous vehicle. Our driving simulator did not have CAV features when we bought it, so we programmed it ourselves with the help of Forum 8, the company that is the vendor, and we put those features that we showed you. So on this research, we developed this study network that is near Baltimore, is I-95, going to 395 and going to downtown Baltimore. And we put different CAV scenarios and plus-based scenarios to compare what happens when they have the CAV features. So as I showed in the video, these are the features that we put and those scenarios that we made. One scenario is for pedestrian collision warning, red light violation warning, forward collision warning, curve speed warning, level 3 automation, and we have some control scenarios that there is no automation or no connection on them as the baseline. So what we did on the pedestrian collision warning, this pedestrian collision warning can be either through V2P technology or AV technology. The way that V2P works for that is the vehicle equipped with the DSRC technology can detect the pedestrian with the DSRC-enabled smartphone, and V2P technology uses both audio and visual warning to alert both pedestrians and the driver of a collision, that collision might happen. So we did that in our network in the Pratt Street in Baltimore City. which is a one-way street, 4 lanes, with speed limit of 30 miles per hour, and we put traffic level of service B. And when for both baseline and pedestrian collision warning system, as soon as the participant driver crosses a waypoint, a jaywalker appears about 40 meters from the waypoint. And we did this 40 meter, we got it from NHTSA guideline on stopping sight distance. We calculated to be 40 meter. So we give the warning, and the pedestrian, the jaywalker shows up, and then we see how the participants react to that. On the sorry, on the red light violation warning, this application is a V2I technology, vehicle to infrastructure. It warns the driver of impeding red light if the vehicle is above a certain speed near a signalized intersection and the light is about to turn red. So we implemented that on I-395 near Baltimore City. In Baltimore City, is intersection of Conway and 395. The speed limit is 30 miles per hour and level of service of B. And when the participant reaches a distance of around 50 meters from the traffic signal, traffic light changes from green to yellow, and the distance of 50 meters was again based on the NHTSA guidelines. Then we have forward collision warning, which is could be a V2V or a AV technology to warn the driver of an impeding collision with a vehicle or object that is directly in its path. And there are 3 stages of the collision warning. Is just the warning with brake support, or collision mitigation. But because of limitations that we had, we did only the first stage. We are only giving warning. We don't do any intervention. And curb speed warning. This application is a V2I technology. So it warns the driver if the speed of their vehicle exceeds the safe limit, speed limit on a curve or a ramp. So we did put it on a 4-lane highway, I-95 going to the ramp, and ramp 53, exit 53. The speed limit is 55 miles per hour, and the lanes are 12 feet wide and 12-foot raised median separating the opposite lane, and level of service is B. So as soon as the driver approaches the exit ramp, we issue a CSW and asking them to reduce their speed to 25 miles per hour, which is the speed limit of the ramp. On level 3 autonomous mode, so we put a level 3 on I-95 with 4-lane in a 1.5 mile stretch with speed limit of 55 miles per hour and level of service B. So driver prompted to get the control of the vehicle and give the control to AV, and then get the control back. And so that was the methodology, how we did and what we did in the simulator. And now we are talking about what kind of analysis we did. We did a hazard-based duration model, random forest, takeover reaction time analysis, and gaze analysis. And for pedestrian collision warning, so we had 186 experiments. 83 of those experiments, participants failed to yield to the pedestrian or missed it completely. So we removed those and we used 103 observations of participants. And as you see in the graph, so when we have the PCW, they start the break earlier and they break harder, and then they go to the stop smoother and later. Average perception reaction time when we have this feature is lower. Average break reaction time did not change. Average braking time is higher. Average time to reach maximum deceleration is a little bit lower than the baseline. And average maximum braking intensity is higher, and average maximum speed change is lower in the collision warning. We use AIC or AKK information criterion, which is one of the most well-known approaches for model selection. And we use the log likelihood value. So based on that, we picked log logistic model to provide the best fit. And so these are the model results. So in order to find the goodness of fit for the log logistic model, we did a plot of cumulative hazard rate. And as you see, it's about a 45 degree line. So it shows that it's a pretty good model. And these are the results in here. As you see, if the initial speed increases, the speed reduction time would also indirectly increase by 6.2% because the odd ratio is 1.062. But when the speed reduction time would decrease by 3.8% and 21.8% if there is a decrease in minimum speed, or if the average deceleration rate. And in the presence of PCW system, the participant speed reduction time increased by 7.7% because odds ratio is 1.077. So it shows that PCW system is a more effective system in improving speed reduction time. So we have more time to smoothly transition to an acceptable speed or come to a stop to yield to the pedestrian. Also, gender was effective. It shows male participant on average took 52.2% more time to reach the desired minimum speed compared to female. And then we have the survival probability in here we are showing. So it shows that like at 3 seconds, if you see here at 3 seconds, there is a large difference between the two, the base and the PCW system. So the survival probability for the baseline is 21% compared to 43% for the PCW scenario. And in 4.5, it drops even more to only 5% in the baseline. So in the presence of PCW system giving participant longer time to brake and transition to a smooth stop. These are the eye tracking system results. It shows their gaze, is a gaze analysis. It shows how many percent they were looking at what object. So we looked when we have the PCW or without PCW. So when without PCW, they are less distracted, partly because they look at that pedestrian alert it's a high percentage are looking at the pedestrian alert when it comes. But like interestingly, they don't look at the traffic light as much as when they don't have that alert system and their eyes on the road is less. So what we concluded from PCW, pedestrian collision warning, majority of participants noticed the display warning. Participants who glanced at the pop-up, they had longer speed reduction time, and 31% of the participants said that PCW was their top choice of CAV technology. They would buy it in their cars. And the presence of PCW significantly impacted the speed reduction time and deceleration time. It increased the reduction time and it reduced the deceleration time, which proves that the effectiveness of this system in providing a safe and more comfortable driving maneuver and support our hypothesis. We have quicker perception reaction, faster braking, familiarity of driver with the CAV reduces the speed reduction time, and male tend to have longer speed reduction time. The red light violation warning, when this is a comparison between when we have the warning versus we don't. When there is warning, so they start brake earlier and they brake higher and then they go smoother, come back to the red light. So the average perception reaction time was lower when we have this feature. Average brake reaction time was higher on average. Average braking time higher. Average time to reduce maximum deceleration a little bit higher. Average maximum braking intensity a bit higher, and average maximum speed change much higher than the base scenario. Similarly, we did a statistical analysis, and we found log normal model to be a better model for this one. So as you see, it's not as good as the other one, but it still is around 45° in here. And only 4 variables became significant. These are the variables. One is in the survey questionnaire, participants who stated that they ignored red light violation warning, they had a negative influence on speed reduction. These ones that they said they ignored it. Also, those who stated that their car does not have or support CAV application, they had a positive influence on speed reduction. It means that participants who did not have prior experience in getting information while driving followed this system better, and it did end up having a smoother braking behavior. Participants who stated that the annual mileage wasn't applicable to them, either they do not own a car or they rent it or whatever, they and had a little driving experience compared to the majority, they did they affected the gosh, they affected the speed reduction time. And also, if you look at the survival curve, a lower survival probability was recorded for the scenario with no RLVW as compared to the scenario with the red light violation system. At 5 seconds, if you look at 5 seconds in here, At 5 seconds of speed reduction time, the survival probability for baseline scenario was 37% compared to 75% in red light violation system. And it drops even further at 7 seconds. If you look at here, only 9% in the baseline compared to 38% in the red light violation time. So we can conclude that red light violation warning system, when it was used, participants were able to start their braking maneuver earlier due to the warning given, and they used less aggressive deceleration rate to reach the required minimum speed. And these are the eye tracking system results for the red light violation. We can see that the system informs the driver of changing traffic light, giving them plenty of time to react accordingly. But we could not find any significant correlation between social demographic of the participant and eye gaze analysis. But all we see is they pay attention to it, they see it, and they look at the warning. So what we concluded from red light violation warning, the system was able to attract drivers' attention. Participants who glanced at it, at the pop-up, had longer speed reduction time, and 40% of the participants did not stop for red light in the baseline. 55% of those 40% did actually stop for the red light in the next scenario, in the warning scenario. And so they had quicker perception reaction, faster braking, and the presence of such a system significantly impacted the speed reduction time. And the reduction time, it increased the time needed to reach the minimum required speed, and participants who drive less tend to drive more cautiously. And if you look at here, some of the results are in here. We looked at the, oh no, sorry. I knew I had something in here. So smoother braking maneuver and less aggressive deceleration rate, which supports the hypothesis of red light violation, is an effective system. Then we go to forward collision results. First of all, the average speed were calculated 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after the forward collision was issued to evaluate the impact. And it shows that the speed changes significantly at 95% confidence level. And after collision warning by the average of 15 miles per hour. So they, it affected them significantly. As you see in this, we did a random forest model, and these are the variables that affects the change in speed. The most important variables are these three: age, familiarity with CAV, and I mean, these two are more effective. So we are concluding that these two variables affect the forward collision results. And the model, the predictive power of model greatly reduces if we remove these two variables. So these two variables are very effective. So what we get from the forward collision warning is there was a statistically significant change in overall speed when there was a forward collision warning. Familiarity with CAV affects that, and participants in younger age group tend to slow down more when encouraging the FCW, there was no significant, I mean, statistically significant change in overall speed. Sorry, I messed this one up. So there was a significant change in overall speed. There was. I don't know where I get that from. But based on the stated preference, participants had mixed up reaction about, oh, I see why that happened. These two, sorry, these two are for curve speed warning. I don't know why I combined them to this one. So the last two are for curve speed warning. Curve speed warning, no model worked well with it, and it was not showing any statistically significant change in overall speed. And even stated preference, people had mixed reaction about curve speed warning. So we, all of the other features, they showed people pay attention to it and they followed it and it affected them, but curve speed warning was not like that. And the last one is level 3 autonomous mode. So in one of the scenarios, we send a message to the participant telling them we're going to take over, you're going to autonomous mode, and then it comes back from autonomous mode telling them to take over. So we issued a takeover request, TOR, and expected to regain control of the vehicle. The average takeover time, or TORT, we calculated in two ways. We calculated regaining control of the steering wheel, that on average was 2.47. And we also did for the pressing the throttle, on average was 2.95. In the literature, there was several papers that they were doing this, the finding the average steering wheel, taking control of steering wheel, but we did not see anything about throttle. So I think that's the first one that has happened. 2.95 second take to take control of the throttle. The factors affecting, they are here. The factors affecting using random forest model again. The mostly is how many miles is driven and the age. So those two were, and also familiarity with CAV, that's the third one, familiarity with CAV. They affected the tort. And the gaze analysis in here, it shows that drivers don't remain attentive with level 3 autonomous mode. That's one of the concerning issues that people has. So if you are in autonomous mode, you're looking at your cell phone and doing other things. So you do more distraction compared to when you are not. I'm sorry, I had not shown this one. I don't know, for some reason it was not moving. So they did, this is the gaze analysis. So off-screen distractions, as you see, when they are in autonomous mode, it happens a lot. And looking at other things, no distraction was much less than when we don't have autonomous mode, which makes sense, but then they have to be attentive to take over the vehicle when it's needed. So what is the conclusion of our research? We conducted experiments to assess these 5 different applications. And the results show that with exception of curve speed warning system, the rest are effective in improving safety and comfort of the drivers. It is anticipated that these systems will be more widely adopted by automobile manufacturers. They will improve safety on all road users and to reduce congestion. But for curb speed warning, maybe we need to do further research to see what, to see what we can do, and if it was different in other researchers. So maybe we have to do more digging on this one. The gaze analysis showed that majority of participants do glance at visual pop-ups of the application and react accordingly. So those pop-up applications, both video and audio, are effective and people pay attention to it. So that was my presentation. If you have any questions. Any questions?
Okay. Hi. Okay. Good morning. Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Ahmed.
Okay. Just I have a question that how did you get the data or collected the data? Okay.
We collected in driving simulators. So we recruited people all over Baltimore. We paid them $15 an hour to come and drive on our simulator. And so we recorded their driving performances.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I'm looking at the messages as well. No questions. Okay, if there is no more questions, yes.
It's a nice paper, that presentation that you did it. Very nice. Okay.
Thank
But,
you.
okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed.
Just, yeah, that will be very useful for making decisions and making applications for controlling it, controlling any accidents or disease. So that
Yes.
it will be very useful.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, if there is no more questions, I can stop in here, and at 11 we have our next speaker coming at 11. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Have a great day. Bye. Bye, everyone.